Welcome to What's My Tagline, a show where we put the microphone in front of the people who are typically behind the scenes, those responsible for marketing, sales, social media, PR, and event management. Well, hello, and welcome to What's My Tagline. I'm your host, Carol Flagg. Thanks for tuning in. On today's episode, I'm joined by Saul Marquez, founder and CEO of Outcomes Rocket, a global agency that helps health tech and med tech companies amplify their message and accelerate growth. Saul recently led a survey of more than 800 marketing professionals to better understand how organizations are using podcasts as part of their marketing strategy, including what's driving results, where challenges remain, and how podcast content may play a growing role in an AI-driven future. He's here to discuss the findings from that research and explore why podcasts continue to emerge as a powerful tool for thought leadership, engagement, and business growth. Saul, welcome back to the show.
Such a pleasure to be with you, Carol. Thanks for hosting me, and great to be with your listeners.
Yeah. It's been a minute since we
It
last did an episode
has.
together. Yeah, so we were due. We were due. Excited to talk about the research that you conducted and the insights and all that good stuff. But before
Yeah.
we start, as you know, my first question of all my guests is, if you had to describe yourself as a tagline, what would it be?
The tagline would be growth accelerated.
Oh, okay.
And so, I have a genuine curiosity about how things work. I've always been a sales and marketing person. And with that in mind, I tend to find ways to grow companies, and with that, I help them grow faster. I've done it through my career in the sales and marketing hats that I've worn. So growth accelerated.
I like it. I like it. Leaning into that, why don't you give our audience just a brief overview of your background and your role as founder of Outcomes Rocket?
Yeah, so thanks for the opportunity, Carol. I've been in healthcare for just over 20 years, always in the med tech. I started my career in the med tech space with medical device companies like Medtronic, Stryker, NuVasive, and I always played a sales role. I did have marketing roles in between things with different roles, like a market development role. But then there was one point in my career when I really woke up to the reality that marketing is so important. As a salesperson, you're like, sales, we get the deals,
Yeah.
and we bring in the revenue. But there was this project that I did with a marketing partner where I got to see the breadth and the depth of all the work that they do, the research, the positioning, and I'm like, wow, I've been taking you guys for granted for so long. Um, and it was that point where I decided to really get invested in marketing and work with my partners and really kind of take a deep dive in that space. And so, yeah, since then I've been a believer. I do think that marketing, has a big responsibility in helping sales achieve sales goals. And that's why I started Outcomes Rocket 3 years ago. I started as a podcast 8 years ago,
Yes.
and that podcast sort of pointed to me, and we're at about, we're over 2,000 podcasts recorded and published. I started seeing trends in across organizations, just issues with marketing issues here, marketing issues there, whether it's a startup that's well funded or bootstrapped or even a billion-dollar business, the need was there. So I jumped in 3 years ago to help these health tech and med tech organizations with our full service marketing services and strategy to help them hit their goals. And it's been a good journey thus far.
Yeah. All exciting stuff. And kind of leads us into this conversation about what we want to talk about today.
Hmm.
First and foremost, what prompted the survey? What's the goal of the survey?
Yeah.
And what were some of the things you learned about the current state of podcasting, which is really what this survey is about, correct, from a marketing perspective?
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it's about. Why we did the survey. So, Carol, our 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 model, our engagement model is the 3D model. It's discover, define, deliver. Um, we believe marketing has way too many tactics, and it's easy to get tactic focused. One quote that we always share is, "Tactics are the noise you hear before the war is lost." And so because of that, our 3D model is how we engage the work with our customers, discover what the problem is, your strategy, the solutions, define the the go-to-market path, what's going to be your basically your roadmap to success, the KPIs you use to measure, and then deliver, you execute on the three buckets of marketing, which is owned, earned, and paid. It's algorithmic. If you're able to do this methodically, you could get results at the end each and every time. And so, in the spirit of how we go to market with the 3D model, we do research. Every quarter, we do two reports. The one we did before the podcast one was on PR. Fascinating information there. The one stat that I led with on the research we did on PR was that only 6.1% of organizations actually use their PR coverage to actually activate sales. I was
Oh,
dumbfounded by that
wow.
number. Yeah, it's insane. I could provide a link to that report too, but that's low-hanging fruit. And so, we believe that you got to make decisions based off of data. And with that, we do research every quarter. This quarter, our two focus areas are podcasting, which we're actually launching our podcast. We're giving you a preview, Carol, because we're launching it
I
on Monday.
know. It's Monday, right?
We're launching it on Monday, so excited to launch it with you. And then closer to the end of the quarter, we're going to be launching our study on conferences in healthcare.
Can't wait
And
for that.
yeah, and I'm actually I'll tip my hat here and say that kudos to Colin Hung, who we're collaborating with on that one.
Oh, yep, yep. Old friend. Yep, yep.
Yeah, you know Colin well.
I
So
do.
that's why we're doing it. And then what we hope to learn, we hope to learn what the latest trends and how people are using it and what's holding them back and how's the market looking at it overall. Oh, and I should say this, I want to give credit where it's due as well on this report because we did it in collaboration with Dan Kendall
Yep.
from Health Podcast Library. So I want to give him and his team at his organization credit for the work that they did and helping us come up with the findings.
So the research was to really understand how marketers, healthcare, I think probably mostly B2B, or maybe you talk to some market people in the healthcare or in the provider space, but how they're utilizing podcasts if they want to do a podcast, and how to, I guess, their impressions as to how those things are being measured, correct?
Yes, exactly. And there's a lot of things that, we get a lot of questions all the time around podcasting. One of the most common ones is how do we monetize and
Yeah.
how do I know that this is successful? And so the findings of the report really are centered around three main pillars. The first one is the skepticism problem. It's actually a measurement problem, and we could unpack it. People are measuring the wrong things.
Yeah.
Pillar number two is most organizations are spending on the wrong half of the equation. I'm just gonna create a hook with that one, and we'll answer that one. And then pillar three is that the AI search divide is opening right now, and there's huge opportunities with podcasting there. So you tell me how you want to unpack it, and happy to go wherever you
Yeah.
want to go.
Yeah. So we know you surveyed over 800 marketing folks. I'd say
Yes,
predominantly companies and maybe some providers in there too, but they were all marketing people basically,
correct.
which is
Marketing and
where
PR people.
which is what podcasting kind of falls under their bailiwick anyway, right? And we
Mm-hmm.
know they're always concerned about analytics, and we know they're always concerned about, quote, I'm doing air quotes, ROI, and where the time and investment in creating or doing a podcast, where the payoff is. So let's spend our time together talking about and digesting those three pillars. So why don't we
Let's
start
do
with
it.
pillar number one?
Yeah. So the skepticism problem, it's actually a measurement problem. So the number one barrier for non-hosting organizations actually wasn't budget or expertise. It actually is belief. So what I mean by that is a little over 45% are simply not convinced that podcasts work for their goals. Um, 29% said that they were budget constrained. So a lot more people believe that podcasts won't help them achieve their goals.
Mm.
And when you peel back the onion on that, it's because of how people measure success. Engagement is 70% of what people measure. Downloads is another thing that people measure at 61%. And then lead gen, 32% measure that. Revenue attribution at 20%. And then just formal ROI at 16%. So the reality of what people are measuring is this, and this is where I always share with people, like if you're doing a podcast, you fall into one of three camps. Either you're a media company and downloads should matter to you because you sell ad space, or you're a B2B or a B2C company, and therefore you need to be thinking about this differently. You already have your flywheel. You're not trying to sell ads. So you shouldn't be measuring downloads. It doesn't matter, and then the third camp is hobbyists. It's great to do podcasts for the sake of a hobby and fulfillment, and there's definitely people doing it in that realm. But for the majority of people and companies running podcasts, they're B2B companies with existing flywheels. And my message to you is don't measure engagement and downloads. Measure the I can't even talk, Carol. Operationalization. Thank you.
That's a mouthful.
Measure the operationalization of your podcast assets um, into the rest of your marketing program so that you could get those impressions on your site, so that you could get those at bats with your potential clients as podcast guests, so you can put together all the assets that you need on your website for AEO, SEO. So measure the right things.
That 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 is really great because obviously we're a media company and while we don't sell ads, our podcast shows and our network are predominantly syndicated. There is always an fixation on the particular show host on downloads, aka plays. So
Yeah.
your message is it's that's not what you should be tracking for the most part.
No.
Again, unless you're selling ads, that's not what you should be tracking. You need to be looking at this as another content piece or weapon in your arsenal to attract, an audience and position your company as thought leaders in the industry. I think I got that all right.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Carol, the last line that I'll leave you with is downloads are vanity, contacts and contracts are sanity.
There we
We
go.
share that with our clients all the time.
All right. Pillar number two.
Pillar number two is most organizations are spending on the wrong half
Yeah.
of the equation. Now, do you know what it is? I'm curious. Maybe not, and I could go into it. But what do you
I
think?
I'm so intrigued. Spending the wrong half of the equation. I think, are you talking about companies are spending marketing dollars to expand their plays and downloads and reach of the show?
That's part of it. Exactly. So, and exactly. That's half of it. So you're spot on. I love it.
Well,
I
but
love it.
that's my message to them.
Yeah. Is it?
Well,
I love it.
we can amplify. Just that it's kind of an overused word anyway, just outing myself here. But no, I mean our sales pitch has always been obviously you're going to track plays and downloads, but that really what you want to be doing is, casting a wider net for the audience that you're trying to reach.
So yeah, like and exactly. And by the way, I think it's important that you invest in promotion, but the big thing here is 41.8% put more budget into production than into
Oh,
promotion.
oh, that is the wrong side.
Yeah. And only 26% do the reverse. So I would say invest in syndication so that you're getting in front of the right people. And nearly 1 in 5 spends more than 80% of podcast budget on production alone. If you're in that camp, reconsider what you're doing. You should be spending on promotion, distribution, PR to help get the word out. But the flip side of that is really fueling your marketing program to get the value out of it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you for coming back into my good graces. No, just kidding. So when you say production, because for a lot of companies that I know don't invest too much in production. They record on a Zoom platform or something similar. Maybe they will, um, you know, take some video clips and dice it up. But I know that with this focus on video podcasting, I think that there is sort of some pressure out there, which does include some budgetary issues, sort of pressure to move more into that space and spend the time creating video clips and having it both ways, which they should. Video podcasting is is where it's at right now, and certainly short form content. Or they so are these costs in the production standpoint, like they have to hire, well, editors, whether it's somebody in their team or that's contract work. Is it paying for the talent, or is it all those things?
It's all of the above. It's hours allocated, contractors, all of the above, right? So the survey essentially captured this as a production budget. Like what percentage of the budget you allocate toward podcasting goes to what, right? And so it's a bucket that categorizes time invested by employees,
Hmm, right.
software, hiring it out. Look, you gotta do the right thing for your brand. So I'm not saying don't spend on it. I'm saying spend on it wisely and efficiently. And then on the distribution side, partner with somebody like with Carol and Answers Media Network to make sure that you're getting the word out to the right people, but also go further. And when you think about your distribution to the right people, the survey revealed only 15.5% target existing customers, even though those are
Oh.
often the most commercially valuable listeners for B2B podcasting. So podcast as a spoke in a commercial flywheel is the way we like to think about it, not a standalone content asset. You could do a lot of cool things with the efforts and your spend around even doing like, this is brand awareness, but still works. LinkedIn thought leader ads with the
Yeah.
with a, so you take a clip from one of your episodes with a client or a potential client and you push it out there. They share it, but you put spend from your company through a LinkedIn thought leader ad to put it out there and create awareness. That awareness creates curiosity. And it's not going to get you lead gen, but it'll definitely create awareness and get people to your site and to your LinkedIn profile and get them to start thinking about you as a potential collaborator.
Yeah. So when you put that survey in perspective as far as production costs, when you do talk about man hours as a production cost, I do think, and this has just been my experience in helping some companies actually launch a podcast, and I'm sure you've been in the same boat, is
Hmm.
that being more efficient in that arena, it's always surprising that these companies, they have an idea, they have a plan, but it's always a plan for the first couple of episodes, right? And I think that some of the quote production bandwidth, which could be related to cost, because thought leaders, their time, their hours, your staff setting up calls, trying to plan out. If there were more planning, I think on the front end, like what is this show going to look like for the next, you know, 18 to 24 months? What's going to be the cadence? Who are we going to get? What are we going to talk about? That planning ahead of time of creating
Yeah.
what you would do a TV show or a movie, right? Versus, well, we have to do another episode. What do we do now? And now you're scrambling, and now you are taking up hours and people's time to try to create an unfluid situation into a more fluid situation.
Totally. And so the way that we like to coach people on this, and I had a really validating moment a few years ago. I forget, somebody gave me a book by Tim Ferriss. And the book was essentially, I think it was like something Titans. I'll have to get back to you on the name, but the point is, I had an aha moment when I picked up his book because it validated what we had been doing. His whole book was written on the same set of questions that he asked over 500 entrepreneurs.
Mm, wow.
Um, and so I opened the book and I'm like, wow, this is what we do. This is what we coach our clients to do when they want to start a podcast. And the point is, sustainability matters. And the way that you get sustainability is you don't make it custom every time. Um, that's one way to do it. Yeah, I'm not saying you should do it this way, but I'm saying if you want consistency, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
You create the theme, one or two themes, and then one or two sets of questions that you ask. Everybody that shows up to the mic is different. And that's how you can create consistency. The good news today is that you also have AI.
Yeah.
And so AI can help you create custom shows a lot faster now. So that has changed. These are some interesting stats. 65.3% of people get to the first episode within 6 months, but then monthly and inconsistently, they drop. So like only 23.3% publish weekly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's a small number that publish weekly. It really is. Right. Well, you mentioned AI, so I'm thinking we're opening the door to the third pillar,
Yes.
which is podcast, AI, and search.
Oh man. Yeah, and this is a great opportunity for all of us. On the one hand, you are a host and running a show. It's fantastic with kind of the content that you'll get and what you could do with it. On the other hand, you should also be a guest on other people's shows. And pod swaps are a great asset. If you have a channel, there's a likelihood that when you talk to another guest, like Carol and I here,
Like we're doing.
we've done a pod swap, and I would
We
want
have.
to do
Yep.
another one with you because I know you've got some cool stuff brewing. I want
I'm
to
all
share
in.
what you're up to. Awesome, glad to hear it. Pod swaps, and then when you get on somebody's podcast, you get videos of you out there, audios, and then also the backlinks. And so it's really important. So 12.9% of people in our survey already name AEO and GEO. So that's basically artificial intelligence engine optimization
Hmm.
um, uh, as an explicit goal. So folks are thinking about this, and in practice, 28.9% are applying podcasts to AEO. Um, and there's a big opportunity, and they're seeing it, and it's working. So this is key. And the tactics that are happening right now, you can do it too. You can do what folks are doing. What are they doing? Well, 37% repurpose the clips and transcripts for AI search engines. That's blogs, that's putting them on LinkedIn because you guys
Right.
know, AI is referencing stuff in social media like newsletters and things like that too. And 33.6% are deliberately producing transcript-rich question-based episodes
Yep.
and setting them up that way on their websites with the proper configuration on the website. The proper kind of tech config for AI engines to find them. It's actually not hard to do. You just have to do it.
Right. Right. Yep. Adam Tarinas could weigh in on this, I'm sure, in a heartbeat. I know he could.
Oh yeah, he's on top of this,
He's
right?
on top of this. He really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So believe it or not, we only have a couple minutes left here for the episode today. Um, leave the audience with a couple of quick takeaways, whether they have a podcast or looking to start a podcast, and then let us know. I know the survey is being published, where they can find it.
Sure. Yeah, you know what I would say is number one, thanks for listening to us. I hope you found something valuable that you could take straight to work today or tomorrow. Because the intention of this report was so you can have the data to support what you're doing or what you want to do. So if you're already doing podcasting, I would say this report will help you take the next steps in getting more ROI out of your program. Um, Secondly, if you're not, I would definitely think about it. It's easier to do now than ever with all of the platforms. Adoption continues to grow. It is a fantastic resource that can help you meet new people, grow your business. So if you want to do it, there's tons of tools out there. If you need help and you're in healthcare, we'd be happy to help. But make sure you remember what we shared, that don't just focus on getting it done, the creation, and the time and cost that it takes to create it. Focus on distribution as well. And being intentional about distribution through partners like Carol and her team, but also distribution through your marketing flywheel. That's how you ultimately get the wins and the ROI that you're looking for in this category. And just a big shout out to Dan Kendall and his team at Health Podcast Library for the work that we did to create this. And Carol, thank you for helping us share it.
Oh, you're welcome. And I'm assuming they can find it on the website on outcomesrocket.com.
That's right. We'll give you the link to
Great.
access it. But if you go to our website, under resources, we have a tab called Healthcare Marketing Insights, and that is where we save all of our insights reports to a quarter, as well as other blogs and valuable things that we do in collaboration, kind of with partners and the things that we do ourselves.
Great. Saul, thank you so much.
Thank you, Carol.
Yeah. You can learn more about Saul Marquez at outcomesrocket.com and be sure to check out that survey, which should be readily available starting as soon as this episode begins airing next week. And also be sure to connect with and follow him on LinkedIn. He has a pretty robust feed out there. Learn more about this show on the program page on healthcarenowradio.com, and be sure to connect with me on LinkedIn as well, or send me an email at carol@healthcarenowradio.com. Until next time, I want to know, what's your tagline?